Hello, welcome to Savva Talks Spurs. As somebody has just named this, the road to 1K. I don't know if that's a very catchy strapline, but the road to 1K. And joining me tonight are Tiago, all the way from the mean streets of Brasilia. How are you, Tiago?
I'm good. And it's not Brazil, it's Rio, but it's quite the same.
Mate, Brazil. I just meant Brazil. I didn't mean like Brasilia as in, come on,
I'm
help
just
a
kidding.
brother
I'm
out.
just kidding. It's fine.
And also, Pete, welcome back. Your second time on the stream.
All right, mate.
You
How's
weren't
it going?
put
You all right?
off from? Yeah, I'm good, but you weren't put off from your first stream. You're back.
Come on, mate. Take more than that.
Brilliant. So, guys, listen. To anybody that's in the stream already, hello, welcome. Of course, get your questions in, and anything you want us to talk about, we will after we finish discussing what is planned. Please make sure that it's polite. I have made many of you mods, so please, if you see anybody in the stream that is being abusive, please remove them. If my stalker returns, say hello, then send him on his jolly way. Let me start. So, lads, I had all these questions planned, and then this afternoon was the news that broke a million hearts of fans that believe everything they read. Bastoni's agent coming out and saying that he is happy at Brazil. No, he's not. He's happy at Inter Milan, and he is going to be staying there. Pete, let me come to you. First and foremost, you know me. I don't get excited and hyped about transfers that haven't happened, especially when we haven't put in a bid. Is this agent talk to drive more money, or do you truly believe this and Spurs have never put in a bid and he's staying where he's staying?
Yeah, I believe he's staying there. I'm not like you. I don't believe it until he's holding up the shirt. I don't believe we're doing anything until even a bid's gone in. Now, I'm not being funny. If back channels get spoken to long before anything official gets done, we all know that. So they would have known that he don't want to go.
Yeah.
So that's just why probably been never bothered.
So do you believe? I mean, look, the worlds of transfers are weird now. It used to be that someone would just come in with a bid and it would be a yes or no. Nowadays, it's all tapping up the player, tapping up his agent. Do you believe, Pete, that there were conversations had, or is this just all a big fabrication and it was just reporters doing what reporters do and trying to drive a narrative of ex-Conte player, ex-Conte club, Spurs need left-sided centre-back, and it all looks pretty?
Yeah, you could. That's typical lazy journalism these days, isn't it? It's easy to connect dots. I think maybe the conversation was asked.
Yeah.
He's interested in leaving. And he's probably told no, and then that was it. That's why we never bothered with it. I think a lot has been made about it on Twitter and all that more than probably was ever happening in the first place. And that's why fans get upset about it, because they start believing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tiago, let me bring you in here. Bastoni, upset by this news, not surprised by this news, indifferent about this news. Where do you sit on the Bastoni front?
I'd say I sit on upset and not surprised. Of course, if you ask me which player I wanted for last centre back, I would have said Bastoni. I've been watching him since he started for Inter Milan, and I've seen a lot of quality in him and would love him to come for Spurs. Has played for Antonio Conte, knows what Antonio Conte left centre back needs to do. But I'm not surprised. I mean, the guy has a huge tattoo with the day he made his debut for Inter Milan. He just bleeds the club.
Yeah.
And I mean, he wants to stay. This agent talk, if more could be more money. It's weird because Inter Milan do have financial problems. I remember a few years ago they were having lots of trouble. So it's weird that they are not going to sell either him or Skriniar. Skriniar has said he wants to be a club legend. But I'm not surprised he's not coming. And I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs were trying to sign him and the deal broke down because it's Spurs. So,
Right.
but of course I'm upset.
So let me ask you then. So and Pete, I'll come to you afterwards with the same question, give you a little bit of time to prepare for this one. So one of the things Henry Wright and I were talking about earlier, Thiago, was, and this upset quite a few people, but Thiago, I don't mind that. I don't mind upsetting the cohorts. It was, are Spurs a big enough pull for a player that is widely regarded as one of the best centre-backs or best up-and-coming centre-backs in the world? Are we a big enough pull? Does Conte tip us over the edge to being a big enough pull? Or is it a case of, right, we've made the Champions League for the first time in a while, but you don't win anything. Your squad's not great. Why am I leaving a big club like Inter Milan for Tottenham?
I'd say it's 100% on Antonio Conte being here. I don't think us making top four makes us a big of a club like, for example, Man United. They might not be either in the Champions League or the Europa League, but we know they're a big club and players want to play for United because of their history and what they've won.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of Bastoni didn't want to leave, and he knew that if he was going to leave, it was because Inter Milan would force him out to get the money. So he was quite unsure if he wanted to go, and wherever he went, he would have to adapt to a new league, a new rhythm. So no one better than Antonio Conte. He knows what Antonio Conte wants in his system, and he succeeded in it. So that's why Spurs look like a sensible option for him, because he wants to improve, he wants to become the best. So to adapt, why not play in a system he already knows? But if it's not Conte, no way he's coming.
Okay. So Pete, same question to you, but what I'll tap onto that as well, and just picking up on some of the comments. And by the way, please, anybody who gets annoyed that I respond to comments, that's the point of the show, right? It's an interactive talk show. Otherwise, we may as well just be doing a podcast on Spotify or something. So lots of the comments I'm seeing are very varied, Pete. I've got lots of people saying, well, we've got this great training ground. We've got world-class players. We've got a world-class manager. So, yeah, Bastoni would be mad not to come. And then you've got other people, and I sit with them, guess, if you couldn't guess, where it's, well, we haven't done anything yet. We've made Champions League, but what have we done to suggest that top players like that want to come to us? Where do you sit with that?
I think you're right, mate. In our hearts, Tottenham are a massive club, but on paper, it's not. That's the reality. Yeah. There's no prestige attached to us at the moment. We've not got a history of winning things and nothing like that. That's why players like Man United can go to Man United, even though they're not in the Champions League, because there's this prestigious club. We're not, unfortunately. And that's the sad reality of it. Yes, we might be able to pick the odd player here or there, but we can't go shopping at the elite level. It's like trying to turn up a Harrods in a Ford Fiesta. You can't do it. We're not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the thing for me as well, and like I've said, and I'll continue to say this until I'm blue in the face and until Spurs act like a big, massive club that some of our fans think we are. For weeks and weeks now, from the moment we secured Champions League football, I've had lots of people, they'll come on here and they'll tell me, Savva, you're negative, back the club, back the owners. With 5 or 6 transfers, we are challenging for this title. Okay. So I know your answer before the eyes roll, but doesn't it show that it's not just going to be a click of the fingers? 5 or 6 top players are going to come in immediately to Tottenham, and all of a sudden we're going to win leagues. Am I right, or am I overcritical?
No, you're right. I mean, let's be honest. Football is a pyramid, so you got to go. You can't go from the bottom to the top. You have to go step by step by step by step. And that's what we have to do. So we have to sort of buy players that are maybe not elite now, but they're better than what we've got, get them, and then it's a constant evolution till you get to where you want to get to. But you don't go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. It doesn't work like that.
So Thiago, let me bring you in here. So look, there's a school of thought, right? Top players want to win trophies, right? I don't think I'm speaking for them. Top players want to win trophies. They want their legacy within the game to be, when you go on Wikipedia, it says honours, 4 leagues, 3 cups, 2, this, that, the other. Is there a chance that Bastoni and his agent have looked at this and gone, maybe next year? Maybe we'll see what the Spurs do this year. Is Conte there next year? Maybe next year.
Definitely, I think it's a huge possibility. I mean, he wants safety if he leaves Inter Milan. So why coming to Spurs if Antonio Conte has only 1 year left in his contract? I mean, we cannot predict even if Antonio Conte is going to finish the season for us next season. I mean, it's Antonio Conte. He can just explode in the middle of preseason and say, "I didn't get the backing that I demanded,
Right.
and I'm gone."
Right.
But I think it's this thing about Spurs being a big club and everybody think we can sign every player is just a reflection of the failed mentality Daniel Levy and Pochettino have installed at this club. They think they made us believe that top four is everything we need. You get top four, you get Champions League football, you're a big club, you can get any player you want, and it's not like that. United doesn't have Champions League football, and if they come in, they are still going to have a huge pull to get Bastoni or any other player. I mean, Frankie de Jong could be going to Man United. We could never sign Frankie de Jong. So it's the failed mentality we have.
Mm-hmm.
Big up Danny, the bum.
So let me just quickly look. Welcome to everybody in the thread. I'll try and get through to as many messages as possible. Feel free to put your questions in there, and please do like. You hear YouTubers a lot saying please like. It is purely. It's not a vanity thing. Well, it is a little bit. Let's be honest, but it does actually mean that the video goes wider and spreads to more people. So just sticking with you for the moment, Thiago. So let's talk. Let's move on from Bastoni and let's talk Conte. Now, I watched, as I said the other day, I watched a really interesting, I don't know if it's a feature that they do, but Neville and Carragher do a feature called The Overlap. And one of the things that there was a Tottenham fan on there. There was Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV. There was that absolute man-child tie. And sorry, he is. What a knob that guy is.
52, that bloke. 52.
Oh,
mate, I've seen him in the street and he still wears all that gear.
Oh, mate, it's embarrassing.
I see him in Hornsey.
So the point of that was when Neville was asked, look, are Spurs a threat now? Are Spurs going to build a legacy like City have, like Liverpool have under Klopp, like Wenger at Arsenal and Ferguson at United and the 455 managers that Chelsea have had in the last 20 years? Neville turned around and he said no. He said because Conte never stays anywhere past 2 years. Conte, he said, drives them into the ground. The training regime takes it out the players' legs. The club starts not performing because they're all so tired. Conte kicks up a fuss, blames the club, and he's off. Now, not my words. Don't shoot me. Gary Neville's. What do you make of that, Thiago? Are there, pardon the pun, are there legs in that theory?
I don't think that's the truth. Because if you look at his first big job at Juventus, he won Serie A 3 seasons in a row.
Yep.
And he was going to his 4th season and he left because it was pretty much the end of preseason and he didn't get any of the players he asked for.
Yeah.
Then you look at Inter Milan, he left because he was promised that no big players were going to be sold, but then Inter Milan sold Lukaku and were willing to sell Lautaro Martinez. At Chelsea, I mean, I don't know what Chelsea sees in their managers that they don't really give a chance. But
they demand success, right?
Yeah.
Instantly. And they pay for top players to win now, don't they? They don't do projects.
I mean, the Conte situation for me is a little bit different because he won the Premier League with them. I'm not saying, oh, yeah, you won one Premier League, so you have a free pass forever. But
yeah,
it was not that bad of a season. They got up an FA Cup, but you know, 5th place was not that far off. You know, you could see they had a few pieces off, and they were not that far away from challenging for the league again.
Yeah.
And there's this narrative around Conte. Oh, whenever he leaves the club in misery. No, Inter Milan were just fighting for the Serie A trophy. You just need continuity. It's like, why would you sign a manager that plays a back 4 if you have a team for a back 3 built by Conte? Get someone who plays a back three, plays pretty much the same style, and keep going. So with Conte, it's give him what he wants. He has all the tools he needs to give you a trophy. In our case, we desperately need a trophy. If he goes, get a manager pretty much the same style and keep the job going.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, let's Pete, I'm going to come to you on that just quickly. Things like this make me laugh when I see at least we were ambitious to go for Bastoni. I don't know about you guys. I've not seen anything saying we've bid for this guy. I've not seen anything saying Spurs bid 55 million. Again, I think that comments like this are bred from the last 10 years and how we've gone with the media, that people think interested in a player is the same as actually going and putting an offer on the table and testing the resolve. Pete, let me come to you. One of the things Thiago said there was really, really interesting in terms of I believe what Thiago said, two of the clubs Conte's been at, he's walked because he's not been given what he wanted, right? He's now with Mr. Daniel Levy, surely the worst person in world football to actually have when you need to be backed. Now, the word backed, Pete, we've talked about this a million times, is subjective. But for me, this isn't, with Conte, it feels like you can't just back him in one window. It needs to be a continuation of windows. And this squad needs 3 or 4 windows for me to get rid of the deadwood and slowly bring in top players. Are Levy and Conte going to be on that collision course that him and Jose were on? Or are they going to just be like a nice little marriage?
Only time will tell. History says it ain't going to work out long term. And I think that's why Gary Neville has a point as well, which was going to be my answer. There's two prongs to that. There's the Conte don't stay long, and there's Levy always screws over managers. So there's a double-edged sword there why we won't build a long-term sort of dynasty. I'd like to be proven wrong. For Conte, there's only so many clubs he can keep pinging around to. So at some point, he's going to have to settle down for a good few years, because he can't keep going from club to club to club to club to club. Because he's only going to go across so many clubs. He's not going to manage Wolves, is he? Do you know what I mean? There's only so many top clubs he can go to. Yeah. And then Daniel Levy's history shows that he talks it talk, but ultimately it doesn't fail. It doesn't materialise. And so far, despite all the things about investment and all that, we've yet to see anything materialise. Yeah, it's still early in the window and everything, but it is what it is. Time will tell. So
let me ask then, everybody in the chat, you tell us, is Conte going to be here past next summer? Now, I'm not being negative. I'm not saying I think he will leave. I'm asking you guys, do you think he will be here next summer, or are we going to see a Conte special and a Levy special, and this time next year we're having the dreaded conversation of who's our next manager? Now, Pete, sticking with you just quickly, I don't think we'll sign world-class players. I don't think we'll even sign players that are of the Bastoni ilk. Do you? And if you don't, what's a good summer? And after this, we're going to come to some of the players we're linked with. But what's a good summer for you?
First thing, be Emerson Royal not playing in the Spurs shirt. One of the most important things for me. Got to get rid of him. I think we need to have wing back, good quality wing back. Their system's going to work. It needs wing back, decent quality wing backs. I'm not expecting to go and get top notch, but we can easily get better than what we've got. And I don't include Jed Spence in that either. And we've got to get back to Harry Kane he can't be the sole creator in the team anymore. It's got to stop. He needs to get back up the top end of the pitch. Put him in. That's for me. If he's still our best playmaker this start of the window, then it's not the failed window.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is an interesting one for me. Thiago, I'll come to you just before we go on to players. So Kelvin, hello to Kelvin, has said, I don't agree with Neville. If Conte has a good season and then he goes away, I won't swear, he will have left a really good platform for a top manager to take over. Now, I have a few issues. I just want to poke some holes in your theory here. surely if Conte goes, it's because he wasn't given the platform. And second of all, what have we done? I don't understand what's changed in the last few weeks that suddenly makes every fan think that Levy's changed, ENIC have changed, and we're actually going to be ambitious. What do you think, Thiago?
Sorry, Thiago, before you answer that, what people don't know, the whole thing with Chelsea, he left Chelsea and he got sacked. We actually took him to a tribunal and won his case. So something was clearly went wrong behind the scenes there for him to take him to a tribunal and win. He didn't just take the money and go. He actually took him to a tribunal out of principle. Something clearly went wrong. I can't remember what it was for, but he didn't just go, it all went wrong, so he walked out. There was clearly some real issues there. People don't seem to know that or tend to forget it.
Absolutely. Thiago, what do you think?
I think it's just what Daniel Levy always does. He just gives the signs that he's changed, and then people just go for it. I mean, I'm gonna sign attacking, free-flowing football manager. How did that story end? 72 days without a manager, and Nuno Espirito Santo as our manager.
Right.
And
how long ago was that, Thiago? Was that a year ago?
Pretty much. less than a year ago.
Right.
I still remember the day we announced Nuno. I went for a nap in the afternoon. I woke up and I just saw Nuno holding our shirt. It was like, what the hell is going on? But it's what Daniel Levy does. He brings in Antonio Conte. Conte gets top 4. The mentality that top 4 is everything we need. Then you sign a quality player in Perisic early in the window because the narrative around Conte is that he wants the players in before the preseason, and everybody thinks is good. A few rumors here and there about big players, bids coming in for Bastoni, for Pau Torres, and so on. Then people get excited.
Yeah,
it's just how it is every single season, and people don't learn. We cannot just sit down and relax. We need to press the club and protest every day because, I still believe that in the end of the season, there's a big chance we just, not the season, end of the window, we're going to have no one. We're going to be with pretty much the same squad. It's a possibility. It's Daniel Levy we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Thiago, let me stick with you then. So, some people will say, look, we've seen change already. We've seen Perisic, who was a good signing. I'm not knocking that. Very good signing. I wanted him. And we've seen Fraser Forster signed today. Again, a good, essentially a backup, right? He is a backup goalkeeper. I don't believe in the theory of backups all over the pitch, but definitely he's a backup goalkeeper to Lloris. Is that enough for you? You just said yourself about Levy gives these little signs that is changing, these little signs, right? Is there enough in those signs to suggest that Daniel Levy woke up and went, do you know what? Sod the last 22 years. We're going for it. We are going for this and we are going to make this club successful.
That's nowhere near enough. It's what I said about if Conte leaves, we need continuity. If he stays or he goes, we need to stay at top level. I'm only going to believe if we win, for example, an FA Cup this season and the next season we're there in the final again and we're in the Champions League again and we're fighting for the Premier League. Or if we win the Premier League the next season, we're in the title race again and seeing quality players coming in for 2-3 years in a row. Then I'm going to start to question myself whether Daniel Levy is really changing. But it cannot be a one-off. It cannot be a Leicester that wins the league 1 year and then they dip again.
Right. Okay. So, Pete, let me ask you then. So, look, I'm not one for predicting where teams are going to finish next season whilst the window hasn't happened. Okay. So I'm not asking for a prediction of where you think we'll finish. But if we go next year again and don't win a trophy, right, and we don't get top 4, would that surprise you? Or, as a Spurs fan, are you almost setting yourself that that's what's going to happen and anything else is a bonus? Is that really negative?
Well, this story of the last 20 years, isn't it? Start getting high and then get knocked back down again. Snakes and ladders, isn't it? Fortunately, Levy's a snake and he's also the ladder.
Right. So this is the key thing for me, right? I get lots of people going, like, I put out a morning question every morning on YouTube, right? And it allows people to come in and comment. And I think they hate it. If they give an opinion I don't like, I go back on it. And they go, oh, you've asked a question. I'm like, yeah, but I'm giving you an answer. And lots of people, the same people over and over again, you'll see them in this show tonight, will tell me, Savva, Conte wins a league in his second season, wherever he goes, right? Conte's definitely going to win a cup. There's a revolution happening. Now, I wish I was that guy. I wish I was that guy that hadn't seen all of this pain for the last 20 years, right? And could turn around and go, you know what, Pete, screw you. We are winning the league, mate. We are winning the league. I don't care what you say. We're winning FA Cup. No one else might as well enter. We're winning it. Why can't I find that feeling within myself? What is it that I'm missing that so many of these optimistic fans are seeing?
I don't know. Jose Mourinho won a trophy at every club he went to, and then look what happened there.
Yeah.
6 days before a final. So, I mean,
yeah.
The laws, as I said, the laws of football don't work at Tottenham. It's like the Bermuda Triangle. Nothing. What should happen doesn't happen there. Anything can happen there.
Yeah.
So I'm in the same boat. I'm not highly optimistic. I'd love to be, but I'm just realistic. I go by what I've seen.
Just quickly, Retweaker, apologies if I got your name wrong. You said the window hasn't opened yet. Why are you behaving as if we'll not sign anyone else? Such pessimistic people. First of all, that sounds like the name of a band, Pessimistic People. I like that. I'm stealing it. Second of all, I've no doubt we'll sign 5 or 6 players. I've been really open. I think we will sign 5 or 6 players. I can't speak for Thiago and Pete. I'm not them. My concern is that what kind of level are those 5 or 6 players going to be? It's all well and good saying, here's 150 million, which, by the way, I just want to point this out. 150 million isn't a lot these days when you've got the squad we've got and you need to buy, right? My concern is we're not going to buy the players that are good enough. So moving on from that, Thiago, Bastoni gone for the moment. He might come back. We don't know. He might come back. Who are we looking at? Ake, Pau Torres, Longley, Guehi. Where are we looking for this centre back that we need?
I think the player we're going to go for is Pau Torres, simply because the news is that we tried him last summer and he didn't come to Spurs because he wanted to play Champions League with Villarreal, which is his boyhood club. But now we also have Giovanni Lo Celso. He spent the second half of last season on loan there, and they want Lo Celso. So I think knowing Daniel Levy as he is, being the cheap guy he is, he's probably going to go and say, look, I'm going to check in Lo Celso in the deal, plus a bag of chips and a pint, 50% discount tickets for the Skywalk, give me Pau Torres, and that's it.
Daniel Levy's not buying anyone a pint. Let me just let you know. He is not that guy. He is not that guy.
Half pint, maybe. Half pint.
He'll buy
you a bag of chips.
Shandy.
He'll buy you tap water from the pub, right? That's what he'll buy you.
Okay, so let's
We'll get it free and charge you for it.
But I think it's going to be him. Langley, I think he could also be an option because he probably would be a loan move. So we don't have to spend money right now.
Yep.
That also probably puts shine on Daniel Levy's eyes, not spending money. But I think we missed the 2 best players we could get for the position. Bastoni and Schlotterbeck for me were the 2 best ones. Schlotterbeck's gone to Dortmund. Bastoni, as of now, is not going to leave Inter. So the name I would go for is Pau Torres. I think it's the easiest one to get.
Yeah. Maybe
the closest one.
So what I keep hearing, and by the way you said his name sounds so much sexier than the way I say it. Let's say we bring in Torres, Pau Torres, right? Let's say we bring him in. I'm seeing a lot of people that are saying, oh, he's too weak. He's not good enough. But whenever I've watched Villarreal, the one thing you can never call Villarreal a free-flowing, open team that play lovely football, but they defend brilliantly. And he's the main centre-back there, right? He's the main part of it. What is it that fans don't like? And by the way, Retweaker, that was me being positive. Look, it's lots of fans that don't like players. What is it the fans don't rate about him, Thiago?
It's because Pau Torres is a different kind of center back because he's tall, he's strong, but I think, and he's a good defender. But I think what catches people's eyes more than anything else is his ability on the ball, the ability to pass the ball around or to push forward with the ball, which is something that a left center back needs. We saw Ben Davies push forward a lot. But what makes people wary of him is because we've been struggling with defenders who can defend the past few years. I mean, Romero came in, he was like 50% fit, but he was able to defend. And everybody was like, this guy is world class. And he had played like 2 games for us. So that's why people may be against Pau Torres. Personally, I would like him. From the options left, he's one of the best. Other big clubs want him. So there's a reason for that.
Okay, so Pete, I'm going to chuck a name at you just quickly. I think you need to go back, sir, to playing Football Manager. If you think in any way, shape or form that Spurs are dropping £260 million in one window, then you really can't have supported Tottenham for a long time. That is, I'll tell you what, here we go, party after party. I promise you right now, as all these 70 people in the show as my witness, if Spurs spend £260 million on players, I will get you 2 VIP tickets to Tottenham and I will buy you a home, away and a third shirt. I cannot be fair on that. That is how confident I am at how little we are going to spend, right? I think we're going to spend up to 150 million and recoup about 120, 130 in player sales. And Levy and Enoch will have made people think, oh my God, we spent 150 million, when in reality, they've probably spent 30 million pounds, right? And that is the clever business nature of Daniel Levy. Pete, coming to you. So I'm going to chuck another name at you. This guy, for me, solid player, doesn't get talked about enough. I think we could get him because he's not a regular at his club. Plays in the Premier League. Huh?
Nathan Ake.
Left-sided centre half. Brilliant in the air. Scores a few goals as well. Plays centre back for Netherlands alongside Van Dijk. What is it? Is it that he's not? Is he not glamorous enough?
I don't get why people would turn their nose up at a player like that. He's not a starter for City, but City rotate their squad because they've got such an array of talent there. But he's played under one of the best managers in history and some of the best defenders the Premier League have seen.
Right.
Why would you not want a player like that? And he could be, I mean, he might not want to come. He might be happy where he is, but I think it's worth asking the question, do you want to come and be a main man or do you want to stay being a bit part player? If he stays what he's doing, then fair enough. But I think at our club, he'd be start all day long, and he's left-footed, as you say. He can also play left back. He's done that a couple of times for City. He's a no-brainer, and he's slot straight in. He knows the Premier League.
I think that's the key thing. What does he bring apart from experience in the Premier League? What do you like about Nathan Ake?
Oh, he's solid. He's good in the air, which we do lack. Paul's coming into the box, free kicks from wide, crosses. We're dreading it. He knows how to put his head on them. He's nicked a couple of goals up the other end on set pieces. He's good on the ball. He's got a bit of pace about him as well for a defender. I just don't think, why would you not? That's why City bought him. Let's be honest. They didn't buy him because he's crap. They bought him because he's quality. But unfortunately, their team evolved, and a player like him, because how good their team is, sort of is left in the bench a lot. That's just when we should go, okay, what do you want to do?
I mean, look, for me, players like that are a no-brainer. But I'm going to ask you about another player that's in the Premier League before I come to another foreign player with Thiago. Let me ask you about Guehi at Crystal Palace. Now, Chelsea rated him highly, but was behind what? Christensen, Thiago, Rudiger, Chalobah, Azpilicueta plays there. Maybe if he had stayed there one more year, he would be now in contention. But have you seen enough of him? And would you think that would be good for not only as a player, but for the kind of homegrown quota?
All day long. He's better than what we've got. That's the bottom line. So then that's a yes, isn't it? Again, I'm always, you know me, I'm always for Premier League proven players. I think we don't shop in the league enough.
Yeah.
It saves so much aggravation, and you know what you're getting 9 times out of 10. So yeah, he's shown he's good enough. He'll go somewhere else, that's for sure. So why not?
Okay. So let me ask you, Thiago. For me, we've seen Bastoni apparently is a no at the moment. You've seen Schlotterbeck, who I think is a fantastic player. He's going to Dortmund. You've got Bremer that looks like it's almost a certainty going to Inter Milan. Fans don't seem to want Longley, Torres, Ake, Guehi. Where do we go after that? Is there a special ace up Paratici's sleeve of a player that none of us have thought about?
Well, I hope there's. The Bremer situation is weird because Inter Milan say they need to sell before buying. So how are they going to buy Bremer if they're not selling their center backs? So that's why, for me, Bastoni could still be alive, even though I believe it's more dead than alive. And Dietrich saying Lisandro Martinez from Ajax, I think he's a good player, but a player I would love is Evan Ndicka. He's French, left-footed, plays for Frankfurt, tall, strong, fast, really solid. His numbers are really good. I would go for him, but it's Pratic, you know. Let's hope he's seen it, because from Frankfurt I would have taken Kostic. We're not taking him apparently. So I hope Ndicka is on his list too, because he's really good. If we don't get Pau Torres or Langley or whoever, I would go for Ndicka.
Yeah. Okay. And let me ask you about another a player who's in a foreign league but is English, Tomori of AC Milan. Now, Tomori only went there last summer. Every time I watch that guy play, he just looks really composed, really cool, calm. Is it too much to go and get a player that's only just? I'm assuming he's on a 4 or 5 year contract, 1 year into it. Is that going to be too expensive? Is that a player that should be on our radar?
He should be in our radar. Absolutely. I absolutely love Tomori as well. I've watched him a few times for AC Milan. The problem is not only that he's just arrived there. He's won the league, so maybe they don't want to sell too many players, and now they have a new ownership. And these guys are going to take them over rich, and they don't have financial problems anymore. So if they don't want to sell, they don't need to. Tomori would be amazing, but I don't think that the situation would be good for us if we had to sell him. I saw someone saying about this Italian football. It's never like they don't want to sell players. If you come in with the right money, they sell, but they would ask for like 100 million for Tomori. And we know Daniel Levy is not going to pay that.
Right. And this is the thing for me. And Pete, let me move to you. So the player lots of fans talk about, and again, I'm going to murder this guy's name, Gavadal or Vardial. Thank you. At RB Leipzig, 20 years of age, being raved about. Apparently, RB Leipzig won 80 million because he's got a 5-year contract. Again, the chance, go and get your man at 80 million.
No, he's never paying 80 million for a 20-year-old.
Right.
To be honest, I don't think I'd want that either. I think we could, for that sort of money, we could probably get a better player.
Yeah.
I'd rather spend 40 million on Nathan Ake and have 40 million somewhere else. At least I know what I'm getting.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. I mean, is there? Look, I'm going to chuck a name at you, and look, I'm not saying has to start week in, week out, but would there have been a case for a player like Tarkowski, who is in talks with Everton at the moment, as a squad player? I mean, doesn't have to play every game, but a defender that the best way I can describe him and how much I rate him is he loves defending. Like, you watch Burnley play, him and Ben Mee stick their heads on anything, don't they?
Yeah, I was just looking at his stats a minute ago. He's in the top for blocks and tackles in the league.
Yeah.
He's free. He's homegrown. For me, that was a no-brainer because then you can loan out Rodon, loan out Tanganga to try and raise their value a little bit. Sell Sanchez because all three of them, if they come in the squad, if they come in the team, we're like, oh no. Where he turns up and he's a player you don't mind seeing playing. And also the teams that we will come up against that like pumping the ball in the box, that's the sort of player you want. He's just going to smash everyone and everything and put his head to it. He eats and shits defending. Loves it. Yeah. You need one of them.
So I just want to bring this up. So again, I try and rationalize things, right? I'm not one of these who just goes like tunnel visioned. So we got Romero. We should be able to get these Serie A defenders like Tomori. First of all, the way we belittle other leagues is absolutely shocking, right? This tells me that this guy doesn't watch any Italian football, and that anyone that does knows that whilst it's not as good as the Spanish league and English league at the moment, they are getting stronger season on season. Second of all, we got Romero, but we didn't take Romero from a top, no disrespect. I really like Atalanta. I said this earlier. I like what they've done. I like how they've progressed as a club in the last 10 years and their recruitment ethos. But, you know, he wasn't going to win anything with Atalanta. Romero coming to Spurs, as I said earlier, could be a win-win for him. He either comes to Spurs, we don't do well as a club, and he moves on to a bigger club and uses this as a platform, or he comes to Spurs, we do well, and it's fine. The difference between getting a player like that and getting a player like Tomori out of Milan, who's just gone there, just won the league, probably got 4 or 5 years left on his contract, it's huge, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah, why would they want to sell him? Why would he want to come?
Right.
The thing is, there's a bit of arrogance about that. I agree from the English things, but what the other foreign leagues are good at is taking the English league money. You want a player, you pay for it. You know what I mean? And we pay through the teeth. So fine, we'll take you. You can have the player, but we're going to make you pay through the nose for him. And they're very good at extracting money out of the league.
Do you know what I don't understand? And this, I'll bring you in a second, Thiago. But Pete, what I don't understand is fans like that we've just seen that comment. All of a sudden, like, we can just go and get this player, that player. When have we demonstrated that in the last 20 years? When have we gone and done that gives these fans, listen, somebody said that I just don't like anyone that's positive. That's not true. I just like to bring realism to the conversation. When was the last time we did that? When did we go and get a top player and go, you know what? Yeah, we'll have you, bang.
Probably Luka Modric. Probably then. We didn't do it when we was in the Champions League, that's for sure.
Right.
We're buying Kudu.
Yeah, listen, and Kudu was underrated, mate.
Yeah. Generational, yeah.
Just quickly, this player here, I think it's a Daniel Levy type of signing. He's 20 years old, highly regarded in France, had a good season with Monaco. I think he's good, and he wouldn't be as expensive as Gvardiol. Like 40 million euros. That's actually a Daniel Levy name.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen him play. If I'm not wrong, he's a beast, right? He's a beast of a man, and I like that. Well, I'm 6'6", but he can just not 6'6" at all. Okay, Thiago, let me come to you then. So let's move away from centre halves. Everything that seems to have gone very quiet, and the one thing that I think all Spurs fans could agree on going into this summer was wing backs, right? So all of the talk has been about Bastoni, and yes, we need a centre half. But for me, without wing backs, this system is almost set up in a lot of games to fail, right? Because it relies so heavily on wing backs. Have you seen any reports? Are we linked with anyone who's a wing back? What's going on?
From what I've seen, the name that has been on the media a lot is Jet Spence.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to get another left wing back. I think Conte say something on Sessegnon, even though I'm not the biggest fan of this because Sessegnon gets injured quite a lot. Regulon,
He's injured more than he's available.
exactly.
Right.
Regulon was told he was going to leave, but so far we've heard nothing about him going.
Yeah.
So I think left wing back we have the players. It's going to be Perisic and Sessegnon there. Right wing back Spence, and I saw someone put a picture that in the game Austria against Denmark there were Spurs scouts there, and Denmark plays with the wing back system. He plays for Atalanta. It's Joachim May. He's a right wing back for Denmark. He's good.
Yep.
He's fast. He's not a regular starter for Atalanta this season. I don't know if he had problems with the manager or anything. Could be another player, but no real talks, no real links to him.
Just quickly, I'd just like to ask Thiago. I mean, this is the sort of thing we get. Like Spurs for me don't have enough solid players like Tarkowski. Now, I'm not sitting there saying he should play every game, but when we're saying never a starter, why? If Dyer or Davis were in the Burnley centre-backs in a 2, would they have performed as well as Tarkowski did? Yeah, that was nearly 2 words, wasn't it? As well as Tarkowski did.
No. See, my point on Eric Dyer, I've made it clear on my Twitter lots of times. For me, he's been the most overrated player in our team this season. For me, he's heavily protected, playing in the middle of 2 other defenders.
I agree.
I'm not saying he wasn't solid. I'm not saying he hasn't improved because compared to that season under Jose, every time I saw Eric Dyer put on a Spurs shirt, I just wanted to break him in 2 and he would never play for us again because that was terrible play. He's been heavily overrated, and I think Ben Davies deserves more praise than Dyer, but I also don't like Davies that much.
Mm-hmm.
Davies is a weird one.
Isn't this a case, Thiago? See, I think, Pete, we've had this conversation before, but Thiago, for me, what tends to happen is players like Davis and Dyer, I mean, you could probably put Winks in that bracket as well, Sissoko before he left, Lamella. These players seem to, every now and then, they have a little patch, maybe 3 or 4 games where they do well, and all of a sudden, everyone forgets what's happened for years and years and years, and suddenly they start going, do you know what? Actually, we don't need to let these average players go. All of a sudden, Davis is the answer because he's had. He was good. He was good the back end of the season, but you want better. So, is there a case for that with our fan base that we truly do wait for a player to have a decent game, like when Royal gets a half decent game, and all of a sudden people go, "There's a player in there." Are we guilty of that?
We are. We definitely are. I mean, for me, one of the biggest examples of that at Spurs the past few years is Eric Lamela. Always injured whenever he played, no goals, no assists, but he shows passion. So
Yeah.
he needs to stay. And he stayed for 8 years, averaging 2 league goals a season. I mean, for a right winger, is that enough? It's not enough. And I mean, Davies, I've been saying the same thing as you just said for months on other streams and other channels. The players show one glimpse of quality and they forget about 6 years of being absolutely terrible. Eric Dyer needed 6 years to decide if he wanted to be a defensive midfielder or a center back. Also, he was averaging both positions. Now he has 5 good months, player of the season. I mean, Ben Davies was good for Wales. We don't need Bastoni. Steven Bergwijn, 1 good game for Netherlands. We don't need to sell him.
Right.
We're guilty of that. We need to know that these players are not good enough. And they failed as backups because when they're backups, they get mad because they think they should play every game. We saw that with Pochettino. When we needed them to step up, they didn't. So we're guilty. We're 100% guilty.
Absolutely. So, Pete, let me bring you in here. So, look, as I've stated before, I don't want to sell Dyer. I don't want to sell Davis, but I'm just using these 2 as an example because they've come in. I think Romero's massively helped them out. I think the fact that we've had 2 kind of defensive-minded players sitting in front of them as well has helped them out. For me, I look at these players and I think to myself, what other clubs with ambition would come in for either of these players. And that for me is an indicator. I don't know about you, Pete, you might be completely different. That for me is an indicator of how good a player is. That if Spurs put Eric Dyer and Ben Davies on the market, which club better than Tottenham Hotspur is going to go and buy them?
No. No one will.
Right.
No club better than us. You might get a couple lower down the table, but they're not. No club at our level will want. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, so for me then, I guess the point I'm trying to drive at with that is why then now all of a sudden have we got fans that, you know, they want to keep half this squad, even though half this squad has failed for years and years and years. And
they get too emotionally attached.
Okay.
Get far too emotionally attached. And we saw it with Sissoko. He turned into like the team mascot because he was the GOAT and all this bollock. But it was pathetic in the end. It was like, come on, this geezer's like a dog chasing a balloon. It's not the answer. And it's the same with these two. I mean, don't get me wrong, they've been good this year as a unit. Individually, they're both poor. And if you put either one of them in the back two, they get torn to pieces. But as a unit, they've been solid at times when called upon. So you've got to say that. They're solid pros. They give their all. But in the crunch, there's mistakes in either one of them.
But it's when fans say things like this. Sorry, Jonathan, not to pick on you, but David's had a great season. Was it great? For me, he's steady. You know what you're going to get. But in any way, shape or form, would we be able to say that Dyer or Davis, or could we say that anyone other than maybe Sonny with his 23 goals had a great season?
I think the problem is just the bar is set so low due to the quality of the squad and performances. Just as you say, Emerson Royal just has one game where he don't get skinned, and now he's on a revival. Same with Sessegnon. Yeah. He don't like break a leg or something in a match and does one assist, and then he's the answer to our left wing back problems. It's just it's far too overreactionary, knee jerk, and they get too attached to these players. You cannot let emotion hinder progress. You have to say thank you. You've done what you can for us, but now we're evolving onto another level. And then you have to go, and then you go. That's how other clubs do it.
Absolutely. Tiago, before I come to you, listen, thank you very much for everyone in the comments. Please, we're not going anywhere yet, don't worry, but please, can you smash the like button for me? Anyone who's new, welcome. Please, can you subscribe? I'm going to shamelessly plug again. Currently, with subscribers at the moment, I am on the lofty total of 721 in 6 weeks. So I'm really happy with that. Once I get to the 1,000 subscribers, I will give away 2 home tickets for every league game next season. But once I get to 1,000, so if you can get me anywhere near the 800 mark tonight, even 750, that would be appreciated. Tiago, just before we go on with that conversation, this is what I don't get, right? Joel Matip, right? For me, our fans talk about Joel Matip like he is crap. I've seen this bloke now for 3-4 years be an absolute regular in that Liverpool team that has won everything, challenged for everything, solid at the back. They play 2 centre-halves, and yet we have our fans now thinking Dyer is better or as good as Matip. What is wrong with our fan base?
That is a question I'm trying to answer. It's been a long time. What's wrong with this fan base? I think with Matip, the problem goes with who he plays with. He plays with Van Dijk, so they think that the gap is like this big, but it's actually like this big. I'm not saying that he's as good as Van Dijk, because of course he isn't. But you just had everything that needed to be said. He's been playing there for years. He's won Premier League, Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup. He's won every trophy with Liverpool. And he's been a regular for them for years now. So how can you say he's bad? If he was so bad, Liverpool would have gone for another centre-back. But why have they gone for Konate? Because they didn't have other options. They literally didn't have other players. If they had other players, they wouldn't have signed Konate. So...
don't get me wrong. I'm not turning around here and saying that, Eric Dyer is the worst centre-half I've ever seen in a Spurs shirt. But let's be honest. he's average, right? This is a guy that he's not good in the air. He's constantly caught the wrong side of his man, and I always feel like he's going to give a penalty away. And he turns his back when attackers shoot. But yet, our fans will have you believe that he's had half a good season, and all of a sudden he should be England's number one centre back. We don't need another centre half because we've got Eric. I'm just baffled by it. But look, let's talk for me. Let's move further up the pitch, Thiago. Let's move further up the pitch. We're going to talk about this guy. He keeps being reported. We know him very well. We've seen him in a Spurs shirt before. And I'm not talking about Gareth Bale. Eriksen. Right? Again, I look at our squad, Thiago, and I think no one in that squad can pass the ball properly. And when I mean pass the ball properly, I mean, that vision, moving it left to right, playing it through the channels, spraying passes, through balls to the strikers. Yet you speak to most Spurs fans, loads that come into my channel, and they'll tell you, don't want Eriksen, don't want to go backwards, and he down tools for a year. Talk to me about Christian Eriksen, Thiago. Give me your Brazilian experience of Thiago, of Eriksen.
It's a tough one because I don't have a decision whether I would like him to come or not. I can see both sides. I don't know why, but I get the feeling every day a little bit more that he's going to come back. And now we're having reports that Højbjerg has talked to him and he believes he could join. Some people saying he wants to play in the Champions League again. And at Brentford, even though he didn't have exquisite numbers, he had some good games and he's shown he still got it. If he wants to play and if he's a system in which he feels comfortable, he still got it. And he's played with Antonio Conte. I think that's what maybe plays the most part on me wanting him to come back because Conte knows him. He knows the club. Maybe the love will not be the same as people say. He down tools. I don't know. I'm torn on him. I love that.
Let me ask you why before the pug starts barking. Why are we torn on a player that's better than anything we've got in midfield? He's a better passer of the ball than anyone in our club. He's got more creativity in his little finger than any other player in our club. What is it that we are torn about? Is it because he's been here before? Yeah. Is it because of the issues with his heart? Because if Christian Eriksen was leaving a club and never played for us before and was on a free transfer, I guarantee as a fan base, we'd be going, what a player, get him in. What are we torn about, Thiago?
I wouldn't say it's the heart problem. I think he's shown he's fit enough to play. But I think it's because he spent so. I mean, not when I'm saying it's not the heart, like it's not. We're afraid his heart will bust on the pitch, like it happened against Finland. But maybe because he spent so much time away, and he had a little bit of trouble adapting to Conte's system, and he was good in his last 6 months with Conte. Has he still got it? After he left Spurs, he hasn't produced the numbers he did for us. Yep. And I completely agree. He has more creativity than our whole squad put together. If you take out Kane and Son, for me, the one that comes closest to Eriksen in terms of creativity could be Kulusevski, but even him is still far off.
Okay,
it's more in terms of numbers. If he was producing numbers like he did for us, because let's be honest, when he was for us, he was one of the most underrated players in Europe because he was putting up numbers that only Kevin De Bruyne was getting close to.
Right. Okay. So Pete, with that in mind, then, okay, we could talk about Eriksen not posting those sort of numbers. I think it's kind of well documented that he wanted to leave Tottenham. Daniel Levy did a Daniel Levy and kept him, didn't sell him, then tried to make him sign a new contract. You could see the player wanted to go, wasn't producing, yada, 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 went to Inter Milan, had his issues with his heart. Done. Now, anyone will tell you, anyone with two eyes that's watched football this season will tell you that Brentford's form since Eriksen joined was phenomenal. And every game I watched for Brentford, Eriksen just ran the show. Like whether it was creating goals, whether it was playing deep and actually starting the moves, going to collect the ball. We haven't got that, have we, Pete? We haven't got a player that can do that.
Well, we can, but we need more. But while he's doing, while Kane's doing that, no one's at the top end of it. Oh, from deep, sorry. Yeah, no. I'm normally one that says don't go back, to be honest. So I can see where people come from there. The way he parted, I think, was more because of the situation. He said he wanted to leave. We should have sold him then. We could have sold him for probably 100 million instead of selling for 20 million, was it 80 months later? So he gave the club plenty of notice that look, I want to try something else. Yeah. But I think since he's had his little death scare, it looks like someone who's thought, hang on a minute, he's probably got a different outlook on life because we all would having to go through that. And if he wants to come back, I think it's a no-brainer. He's free. It's the bottom line. The man is free. And the same fans who say, no, we don't want him back, want to bring back Bale for a third time. Who can't run an inch.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
We need him. And he's free and we need him. If we have to buy him for 30 million, then it's a different conversation. But the fact that he's free, it's just get him in. If he wants to come, get him in. If he's happy.
And Champions League experience, international experience, Spurs experience. Look, remind me, I'm gonna read some comments out because Matty is desperate for me to read some comments out. And apologies, it's more difficult. The more people in the chat, it is very difficult to keep up. I try my best though, as my regular viewers know. Remind me, Bale. We're going to go to Bale in a minute. Right. So, Matty, you have got your wish. Brian, big up to yourself. Hope you are well, my friend. We'll do a show soon, Brian. Tottenham come to conquer. Diehard Tottenham stand firm. Welcome, Zuki. I like that. Okay. Eriksen long range shooting with hearts in the eyes. He's on a free. Absolutely, he's on a free. I don't know many footballers you'll get on a free better than Christian Eriksen. Free transfer. Eriksen's through balls. Yes. Tiny Mills has said Eriksen for 40 million. No. Eriksen on a free 100%. Eriksen is a must get. David Carker said, Eriksen's situation is like you marry someone, the sex is great, but you didn't put out for 18 months, then leaves you for a rich man, but after a while you ring her and ask her to come home.
What's that film? That film? That's that film, isn't it, with Demi Moore back in the day?
Oh, God.
Decent Proposal. That was it, yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. David Clark, never change. I love the way you give me some anecdotes. Let's have a look. Eriksen, his last season with us wasn't all that. Yeah, he wanted to leave. To be fair, if you listen to the interviews with Eriksen, he turns around and he actually says, look, I gave the club, I told them, sell me. I want to move on. I want to try something new. We didn't sell him. We kept him. And then you wonder when you keep unhappy players, that's what happens. Let's have a look. Get Mr. Dougal on the panel stream. I will get you on soon, Brian. Don't you worry. I think Eriksen's attitude has changed after the heart issue. Maybe coming back where he loved and help us in the Champions League. I agree, Tyler. I think a life-changing moment like that makes you realise everything that's important to you and what's not. And you can see he's loving playing football again. A Macca say Conte Ball in the chat. Is Conte Ball here? I haven't seen Conte Ball. He said that I blocked him, but I checked earlier. I've not blocked him. Bale used us to keep fit for the Euros. Ron has said Eriksen is not the Eriksen he used to be. He won't be able to defend as well. We don't just want players who can pass the ball. We need players who can run back and defend. Ron, all I can say to you is you have not watched him play for Denmark or for Brentford in the last 6 months.
He covers so much ground. He covers
loads of ground. So
he was our top runner for years.
He was. And even watching him play for Brentford, he's always dropping deep, helping out, and then picking up the ball and starting off. So I don't know what you're watching, Ron, I feel like that might just be a stereotype because he's had a heart problem.
I'll tell you who would really love for Eriksen to come back. Would absolutely love for him to come back. Would be Harry Kane.
Oh, for
He'd be
sure.
like, thank fuck for that. I could go and be a striker again.
Oh, for sure. We've got to get someone that can create, because Harry Kane. I want Harry Kane scoring goals.
He wants scoring goals. That's what pissed him off.
I just wanted to bring it up because I made a quick search here. Someone said that his last season wasn't all that. I think the last half of season he was with us obviously wasn't that good because he was most of the time a bench player. But in the season we got to the Champions League final, that everybody was saying that he was already down in twos. In the Premier League, he had 8 goals and 12 assists.
I know. And imagine having a midfielder that does that now, Thiago. We've got no goals from centre mid. We've got no goals and assists from our wing backs. You've got to do something, right? We'll come to that in a minute, because we're going to talk about this guy's way as well, James Ward-Prowse. You need Eriksen's quality in the squad. I'm pretty sure Son and Kane would love him back serving them. No brainer. Get Torres on part exchange and use the funds for SMS. Okay. Paul Pablo. So in our team, say on the Woolwich game, who would Eriksen replace? Anyone. Again, I never understand this. I don't understand, and we're going to talk about this as well, guys. Squad game. Squad game. It's not about one game versus Arsenal. It's about a squad. It's about one game. You might want to utilise the wings.
Yeah, right back.
Well, but you know what I mean. You might see a team and think, okay, we'll get them in the wings. Other teams, you need something centrally that can prod and probe. At the moment, we don't have either of those options. So give yourself options. I don't understand this. Who would they replace? Man City in central midfield have got, before he left, Fernandinho, Rodri, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, De Bruyne. I don't hear Man City fans going, oh, well, Gundogan, who's he going to replace? They rotate. They all play. Does Eriksen want to move back to Spurs? I don't know Christian Eriksen.
That's the burning question, really, isn't it?
But
yeah.
You know what gives me some kind of thought about this? Because apparently United want him as well. And their new manager is Ten Hag, who is Ajax model of football. And he played at Ajax too. So I'm like, because of the way he left, fans don't love him the same way they used to, because he down tools, or maybe problems with Daniel Levy because he asked to leave and Daniel Levy didn't sell him. Maybe he would like to say, yeah, okay, I'm going to go to United because I also played well in an Ajax system of football. That's what they're going to play. It's United, it's a big club. I mean,
I'd be gutted if he goes there, Thiago. I'd be gutted if they pick him up on a free and then add De Jong as well. It can take 3 or 4 good signings for Man United to tip the balance. Yeah. So I don't want top players going on a free to Man United. But maybe Eriksen wants to come back because we're in the Champions League and because maybe he's got a point to prove to some Spurs fans. Not that I think he has, because he was isn't he the second in assists for that time frame behind De Bruyne? Ridiculous.
He still loves the club. He still has something in that. It's not that because he wanted to leave that he's ungrateful like people make him to be. He wants to come and prove, I still love the club. I'm grateful for everything they've given us. They've given me. It's not that I hate the club now. And I think he has a point to prove to everyone that, okay, I had a heart problem, but I still can play football.
Yeah. I think if we don't get him, wherever he goes next season, you're going to see a quality year from Christian Eriksen, and we will look very silly for missing out on a top player for free. Just quickly, I'll just do 1 more minute of this, and then we'll carry on. What happened to his free kicks? Who are we talking? Eriksen. Party after party got kicked out of McDonald's for leeching off of their Wi-Fi. Okay, good. Eriksen would be a reason why I would get excited about going Spurs again. Right. Okay, let's talk about this. For me, I don't ever get. I'm going to sound so negative again. nothing excites me, guys. I'll start with you, Pete. Nothing excites me about Spurs, the way we play or the squad, right? Would a player like a Maddison, like a Ericsson, would a player like that change it for? Do you think that would change it for someone like me? I can't speak for you, but is that what's needed? You know, a talisman, a creator, a bloke that gets on the ball and dictates a game.
I think so. I mean, the argument against will always be, well, Conte plays this system. We don't use a playmaker, blah, blah, blah. But I think you still need to have these players because you need to pick it up now and again. Plus, he learned how to play in the two in midfield anyway in the Milan. Yeah, you do need that. I think there is no player that really excites you, gets you off your seat a bit. I mean, not saying Ericsson gets you off your seat per se, but you look at him, you know, right, he's going to do something.
Yeah.
You know, if they give him time and space, he's going to hurt you. So you're waiting for it to happen. Yes, and he can dig out a free kick. He can shoot from distance, very good at that. So he's got something that when he gets the ball, the expectation level just rise a little bit. I think something definite. He could play but he could split a team in two with one through ball. Do you know what I mean? And Son's off on his bike or hang whatever.
Yeah,
so he's got that in his locker, which is what we don't have.
Okay, so Thiago, I'm going to move on to your question. Just before I do, AMAC, you would think I earn a fortune. I actually make zero money off of YouTube. So, and even when I do make money, 50% of it always goes to the British Heart Foundation. So this for me isn't about the money. The reason I liked making money from before was because I love to give to charity. Believe that if you want. If you don't. I don't care. Thiago, let's talk about James Ward-Prowse. Now, you were in a group with me the other day in a WhatsApp group where I was told by multiple fans, that James Ward-Prowse is a better footballer than Christian Eriksen, which blows my mind, right? Second of all, let's move on from that. I just had to get that dig in case any of them are watching. James Ward-Prowse, I saw somewhere that Southampton wanted 75 million for James Ward-Prowse. Now, we know that we won't pay that, but let's assume Daniel Levy would pay that. Would he be good in our team?
He would be better than Winks, that's for sure. I think he's more of a Bentancur type of player. But while Bentancur is really good with being solid in midfield, I don't really see much on Ward-Prowse other than free kicks.
Yeah.
For me, he's a player that's like, he's doing good in a mid-table club.
Yeah.
And I do think he's better than Southampton's level. But 75 million pounds for him is just ridiculous. I mean,
yeah,
allegedly, we know that it didn't happen, but City were going to offer 75 million pounds for Harry Kane, plus bonuses. So in which world does James Ward-Prowse value is 75 million pounds? It's ridiculous. Take off free kicks. What does he offer? You know, there are better players than him. Not saying he's a bad player. If you ask me, would you have Ward-Prowse or Winks on your team? Are you kidding me? Of course I would have Ward-Prowse, but we can do better than him.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, I'll stick with you, Thiago. Same question coming to you in a second, Pete. Another player I want to talk about that's on my list is, there's two players actually, both cheap. One of them are free. So first part of my question is Kessie. Apparently this deal is falling through with Barca. Apparently, I use the word apparently a lot because I don't believe a lot. Apparently they're in worse financial trouble than everyone thought and they can't afford him. And the other player is Yves Bissouma. Plays for Brighton, knows the league. He's got 1 year left on his contract. Which one of those would you rather have? Or am I crazy in suggesting that Spurs could show some ambition and maybe buy both? Or would you want both? Talk to me about these two players.
Both. I don't know if I would like both because, I mean, I do think it's a little bit too much to say Spurs would show ambition and get both. Actually, oh no, yeah, Kessie is on a free. So yeah, no, I don't think it would be too much. I was thinking about other player, but Um, it's just that both of them are too defensive, in my opinion. I think we need someone with more attacking threat.
Yeah.
From the two, personally, I would prefer Bissouma
Mhm.
simply because our midfield, sometimes we just need that player that has that dribbling in him to create something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And I think Bissouma has that, and Kessie not much. Um, if I had to make Bissouma and another player, I think I would go for Tielemans.
Mhm.
He's a good player too. I believe he would do really well. Apparently linked to Arsenal, but if a club with Champions League football comes in, he would probably go to this Champions League club.
Mhm.
Bissouma for me is a yes. Of course, we need to see the charges on him for
Yeah.
sexual assault. If he's clear, then bring him in. Kessié, I don't know. I don't know if he would leave AC Milan. I think AC Milan with the new owners would give him what he wants to stay.
But he's going on a free, right?
Yeah, he would be going on a free, but if the deal has fallen through, maybe he would renew the contract with new owners. Maybe now they can give him the money he wanted.
Mhm. Okay, so Pete, I'm gonna come to you with that. Just by the way, I think Rich ASF means rich as fuck, right? I'm glad that you've seen my bank account. Please don't share it with everyone. Must have posted it online or something. But yeah, look, as I said, 50% does go to when I start earning. 50% will go to the British Heart Foundation because it's a cause very close to my heart. Not because of Christian Eriksen, by the way, but yeah, it's very close to my heart. So that's why I am trying to get to 1,000 as quickly as possible. I'm on 700. How many people have subscribed? 725. Can you guys help me, please, get to 750? Pete, Bissouma. I don't want to talk about the whole personal life he's got going on. Let's just assume that's not there. Is he a no-brainer?
All day long. He's the engine of a midfield that we don't have. He can run a game on his own. He did it against us, let's be honest. Look what he did to us in that Brighton game. He was running the show. He's like probably a modern day Patrick Vieira, where he's just like a piston, back and forward, backwards and forward.
Yeah.
He's got strength. He can create a little bit. He's solid defensively as well.
Yeah.
100%. If we get him, he takes Højbjerg's place in the starting 11 any day of the week.
Right. And it adds good competition, right? It adds, you know, you then know that, okay, well, Bissouma's injured, right, Højbjerg's coming in, or you can swap them round, you know.
Depth, it adds depth, massive depth.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, if we look at if we look at this, I mean, this is something I was going to bring up later, but Ruben Neves, for me, I've really enjoyed watching Ruben Neves over the years. It's just a shame he's in a team that doesn't actually have a lot of goal power. Do you think that could be the sort of guy that could be the catalyst? You know, he works hard, but he also gets on the ball and controls a game. Would you like to see a Ruben Neves?
Yeah, I like to see any good player, let's be honest. But I think he's a very good player, and he's got goals in him as well. He does get goals. Not much last season, but I think the season before he scored quite a few, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Some of them are real bangers. He does like a shot, and he can do a set piece.
Yeah,
but he's a very good player. I think he'll leave Wolves one way or the other this season. As you say, they've got no goal power in them, so he looks up and there's nothing there for him.
I get the feeling that's a Man United signing all over it if they don't get De Jong. I just get the feeling that he's that sort of player.
Fernandes and all that.
Yeah, or dare I say it? What's that? The name of that club down there in Woolwich? Yeah, them. Yeah. Look, for me, I do think someone better than Wolves are going to come in and take Ruben Neves. I think it's an absolute no-brainer. I love the way he plays. I think he's got beautiful hair as well. Beautiful hair. More than that, just joking before everyone jumps on me. More than that, it's that he's now played in this league for a number of years, and I think he's 25, 26. So he's at that good. Old. Is he not that old?
No, I'd say he's not old. He's not old.
Yeah. Sorry. If someone can find out how old Ruben Neves is for us, but he's got that experience now. So he's no longer that kid that had potential. I feel like he's fulfilled it and needs to get a big move.
He's 25.
25.
And he's played next to a midfield master for the past few years in Moutinho.
Yeah.
The geezer's still running the show now in games.
Yeah,
Fucking
absolutely.
38 or whatever he is.
Mate, absolutely. Do you know what? I'll be honest, I'd take both of them.
Take him as well.
Yeah. Listen, players like Moutinho, right? Sometimes they're ageless because when you've got that ability that you're always one step ahead up there, your first touch, and this is what I love. This is why, again, when I look at certain midfielders, normally English midfielders, I feel like they kill the ball stone dead, but there's no thought about what's next. When I watch a lot of the foreign midfielders get the ball, I always feel like their first touch, like Ginola was a master at this. The first touch, they didn't kill it stone dead. They killed it to where they want it to be, for what their next move is going to be. They've already seen on the pitch what they're going to do. And they've positioned it just, am I going to cushion it there? Am I going to cushion it here? And I feel like we desperately need that. Thiago, Neves.
Modric.
Yeah, no, are you sold on him?
He's actually a player I always forget his name because people don't really talk about him. I think he's very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
There's my guy, Ruben Neves. Just splash the money. I would get him in today, like in the next minute if I could. He's really good. His free kicks are amazing. His delivery is really good. His passing is unbelievable. And Antonio Conte, he got a player a little bit like that in Nicola Barella, and Barella is now seen as one of the best central midfielders in Europe.
Yeah.
Imagine what he could do to Ruben Neves. I mean, would be my dream.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think as well, it's not just that we're trying to bring in players. We're trying to bring in players to play for Antonio Conte, and that for me, I think, especially for a player like Neves, who, again, no disrespect to Wolves, I think they've done really well. I think we forget that they've only been in the Premier League for like 5 years or 4 years or whatever it is. But I can only imagine what he would do Tuesday, Wednesday nights under the floodlights at Spurs. I'm going to call it White Hart Lane. I can't call it whatever he's calling it. Under the floodlights of White Hart Lane, Champions League football, big games. I think that guy could be a superstar. Am I bigging him up too much, or?
No, I don't think you are. I mean, the guy, he has shown his quality. He's shown his quality, and even though Nuno did a good job at Wolves, and what's his first name? I think it's Bruno. Bruno Lage is not a bad manager, but Antonio Conte has that. That's something that the other two don't have.
Yeah.
And we've seen Antonio Conte unlock players. I mean, he got Eric Dyer and Ben Davies to be consistent for months. So why not unlock Ruben Neves to be a world-class central midfielder?
Yeah. I just want to bring this up. Look, first of all, I think, what this goes to show is the players we're talking about tonight. There are players everywhere, right? There are so many players out there. This, I just can't. I mean, when I've watched Conte's teams at Chelsea, at Inter Milan, at Juve, we call them defensive midfielders, but when I watched them actually play for Inter, they were all dynamic. It wasn't like they were. They were. Yeah, and this is what I hate about modern day football. When people go, "Oh, they're only a DM," midfielders should be able to do it all. Right? I'm not saying they should all be, craftsmen and playmakers, but midfielders, proper ones, get about and do it all. Look at Kante. Yeah, quality defensive midfielder, but he's all over the place. Right? That man doesn't stop running. Same Kovacic. Yeah, Jorginho. Look at Man City. Rodri. He's a defensive midfielder, but you watch him bring that ball out and start spreading the play. Just because you get a player like Ruben Neves doesn't mean he can't sit in a two, work hard, and get on the ball and create. I have all these new sayings like double pivot, and if we're only ever going to play two defensive-minded midfielders, then then I
I
don't.
wouldn't call Bentancur a defensive midfielder.
No,
He's a midfielder.
No. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't understand why. If you
Buzzword.
clubs for years, right, guys? Honestly, clubs for years play 4-4-2, right? And those two central midfielders did everything. They got back, they went forward, they tackled, they scored. Now all of a sudden it's, oh no, hang on, they're a DM. They can't do anything else. Nonsense. Somebody tell me, who were the two centre mids that played for Inter Milan? The three centre mids. I know, but I want you guys to tell me, and then tell me that they're only defensive midfielders that played for Conte. Oliver Skip has beautiful hair too. Yeah, okay. 2025. Okay, so that means everyone was talking about his age. Right, so let me ask you this, Pete. Tottenham Hotspur, next season, right? Do you think it's going to be easier or harder next season in that top 4 race?
Oh, it's going to be mental. Everyone's going to be gunning for us. Man United, they ain't going to stop doing business. They are say at Arsenal, we're only beaten by 2 points. Let's be honest here. As much as we hate them, we were 2 points ahead of them because they fucked up. Yeah. Could have been very different then. Villa could do something this year. I mean, they ain't been great this season under Gerrard, but if he gets his act together. Newcastle, there or thereabouts. Leicester, there's all teams there. West Ham. We didn't crash top 4 by a mile. We slipped in the back door in the last minute. So there's plenty of teams out there that can take our players quite easy if we stand still.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Pete. The reason I bring that
happened to us before.
Mate, absolutely. I'll tell you the reason I bring that up, right, guys, is I'm looking at the season that's just been, and I think for me this was one of the worst Premier League seasons of all time. I thought it was just dreadful. So many poor teams with poor players. The top 4 race was crap. Chelsea were miles behind the top 2. But the shining light for the Premier League is that Leicester are going to spend. Villa are already spending. Man United are definitely going to spend. Arsenal will definitely spend. Spurs, I hope, will spend. Chelsea, with their new owner, are going to spend. Liverpool already talking about 80 million bids for Nunes, for Darwin Nunes. They've already bought Fabio Carvalho. Man City have already bought Haaland. They've got Alvarez coming in. They're talking about spending more money. My concern is that I don't think we'll be able to turn up with a squad the same size as last year and just think top 4 is ours because Conte's there. Am I right in thinking that, or am I being over cautious? And of course, we'll get top 4, Thiago.
I don't think that is off at all. We should have been able to, in the end, get top 4 with quite comfort, because if you compare the way we were playing to Arsenal in those last few months, we were actually really good. But again, inconsistent. We lost Matt Doherty. We had problems on the wing backs because we had to play Emerson. We only have 3 midfielders available. If Højbjerg or Bentancur gets injured, we have to play Harry Winks there.
Yeah,
our center backs are not the best. We don't have a backup striker for Harry Kane, or even someone who can play as a partner for him. Mm-hmm. If Sonny or Kulusevski gets injured, we have to play Bergwijn or Lucas, who have no end products at all. If we don't make signings, we don't make more signings, and if we don't assemble a squad, not first 11, a squad, especially because we're going to play in the Champions League, and we don't want to go to the Champions League and just play 6 games and that's it.
Yeah,
we need to spend money. There's just no other way. Arsenal are improving. You can talk about them whatever you want, whatever much you want. They have improved because they were in the top 4 race until the last day of the season. Even though it was hard for them to get, they still had chances of getting top 4. United, a new project. Maybe it's going to work out. Newcastle, they have more money than anyone else to spend. Yep. Villa making some good signings. Leicester have a really good scouting team.
Yep.
Chelsea, 100% sure, are going to improve. We're not going to get to Liverpool City's level. So if we don't spend, top four is gone again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is the thing. I think what I'm seeing is, and guys, if at any point you need to drop off, please don't let me hold you back. If you need to drop off, please do. In the comments, please get some questions in. Comments like this. So Man City wins the Prem. I agree with him up until that comma. Second to fourth up for grabs among circa 6 teams. Can I ask, why is everyone wildly predicting this Liverpool collapse? What's happened, guys? I come to you, Pete. What's happened since 2 weeks ago, right? That has suddenly made people go, well, Liverpool there for the taking. I hope it comes true, Pete, but why? Is this just positivity for positivity's sake, or do they know something that we don't?
They must do, because I don't get it. We're talking about a team that was in every final last season and took the league title for the last day of the season. They ain't going nowhere.
Right.
They are not going nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Jolien, if the worst thing you can call me is Savva with 2 A's, 3 A's instead of 2 V's, I'll take that all day long, mate. I'll take that all day long. I get called much worse. Yeah, Pete. So, I'm hearing, okay, well, Salah and Mane might be off, but then you're hearing, all right, well, they've got Diaz, Jota, they've got Fabio Carvalho. They're talking about bringing in Nunes, which will give them a new dimension as well. Liverpool scouting team as well always does well. So I can't understand at the moment where this was it 21 points, 22 points we finished behind them. I can't see where that drop off occurs, but I need, give me some hope. Where's our 21, 22 points being made up on Liverpool?
Well, hopefully from beating teams that we shouldn't have lost to last year. Brighton's, Burnley's, beating Brentford. I think a lot of that optimism is because they couldn't beat us at Anfield. So since then, they've just gone stupid.
Yeah.
They are. Can't see us closing a 21-point gap. Because remember, they have to lose 21 points as well for us to close that gap. So I can't see it. They're such a well-oiled machine at the moment. They just non-stop. Yeah. Their scouting is second to none. They identify players for a scout for a couple of years, and then they make their move. They don't mess about. Straight in, and every one of their signings seems to work. Just like Diaz already has hit the ground running. They get this Nunes that gives them another dimension. They can afford to lose these players, and not only that, they'll take money for these players, good money, and then reinvest it in their team.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think what they've done is perfect. As I said the other day, they had that front three that was terrorising everyone of Mane, Salah and Firmino. Then they bought Jota, and everyone was like, well, where's Jota going to play? Typical Spurs fan kind of comment. Where's he going to play? They rotated that brilliantly. Now Jota's going more and more into a main central character. Then all of a sudden in the window, they go, hang on, we'll take Diaz as well. So now they've got all of them. Then they go, we'll take Fabio Carvalho, and anyone that's seen him play, that boy's going to be special. Now you're talking Darwin Núñez. They are doing the complete opposite to what we ever do. So Spurs fans will go, well, you can't buy Jesus, he'll sit on the bench. Oh, you can't buy Belotti, he'll sit on a bench. How have Liverpool made that work, Thiago? But Spurs fans don't even want to try it. We just want Kulusevski, Son, Kane, no one else.
That's a good question. I think it's just something that we're not used to. I think it's just that mentality of thinking we're a big club, but actually we're not. Of course, in history, we are a big club in England, have lots of trophies, but as of now, we're not in their level. Again, it's not that I hate Poch, but I think his time at Spurs needs to be looked at more carefully. Okay, we had really good moments the last season at the Lane. Champions League final, I get that, but we were lucky. When you look at that season when we fought against Chelsea for the league, City were learning life under Pep Guardiola, Liverpool were learning life under Jurgen Klopp, United were a mess. Arsenal were a mess. They were getting
Yeah.
rid of Wenger. It's different now. We have Chelsea that is balanced now and is going to spend and improve under Tuchel. We have Pep and Klopp at the peak of their careers. Arsenal is improving. United could come with a new project that's much better than they've been since Sir Alex Ferguson left. So
Can I just ask? Sorry, Ben Ebbage. I kind of think I know who he is. He's another one that it doesn't matter what we say, he'll disagree with. If anyone has watched Luis Diaz play football and is saying he's the Colombian Lucas Moura, wow, what a dreadful opinion. That's not an opinion. That's just wrong. I know everyone's got opinions, Pete, but it doesn't mean that they're right. That is
Jesus Christ.
Wow, that is unbelievable that somebody believed. Got to be a troll. You are funny, Ben. You are funny. Sorry, Thiago. Go on, mate.
I was just going to say that the times are different now. We had a starting 11. That season, 16-17, by the way, we dropped the European competitions really early. So for like the last run of the season, we didn't have European football as well. So we need a squad. We don't need a starting 11. And I just wanted to say one of the reasons that Bastoni might not leave is because I just got a notification. It's because Milan Skriniar is PSG's first.
Yeah.
Top.
Isn't he out for 3 to 4 months?
And, well, if he goes to, as they said, if one goes, the other stays. So I think PSG will come in with the money and get Skriniar, and Bastoni will probably stay.
Hang on, Thiago. Didn't Skriniar just get ruled out for 3 to 4 months? Didn't he just pick up an injury? I'm hearing.
I don't know. I haven't seen that. But
can anyone in the chat, can we confirm? Am I making this up? I heard it on the last stream. Just quickly, so Pete, I'm going to bring you in here. So look, here's from my favourite party after party. In 28 games under Conte, we averaged 2 points from a possible 3. That's 56 points, 84 give Conte's players in a pre-season. Now, what I love about this is how, again, no context has been applied to this fault. This is assuming that we have a whole season with no European football, i.e. basically what we've had since Conte came in. I think, if I'm not wrong, Conte had, I want to say someone will correct me if I'm wrong, 2 Europa Conference League games under his management. I think he had Vitesse and Mura.
One away and one home, wasn't it? Because the other one was forfeit.
yeah.
Right. So he's had 2 European games. So that means in those 28 games under Conte, he hasn't had to worry about midweek games in Europe at all. Right? So again, party after party, I know you don't like context. I know you just want to be seen as this super fan that's glass half full. I love that you're optimistic, but I need you to come to me with some facts about this. Right? Next year, he's going to have to balance weekdays with midweek with weekends. Tough midweek games as well. Not Vitesse Arnhem, not Mura, not Rennes. No disrespect to all those teams. We're going to be playing Europe's elite, and with this squad, Conte won't be able to play the same 11 players every game like he basically for the last 15, 20 games of the season. I'm pretty sure we played the same 11, give or take an injury, right? He won't be able to do that, Pete, will he, next season?
No, and you've got cup games as well, because we want to be trying to win a cup. Not a chance. I mean, let's be honest, at the start, as it stands now, we have 3 fit midfielders at the club. Bentancur, Højbjerg and Wink, because we don't know how long Skip is out for yet. There's no been word on that. Yeah. He could be injured now for 3 months into the season. Yeah. We got to have a squad. There's no way the squad as it is it ain't got the quality and it ain't got the numbers.
Right, yeah, it's not got the quality or the numbers, is it?
No, not at all.
Absolutely. Just a couple of comments. Remember, lads, if you do need to drop off, don't feel it's rude or whatever. Just tell me.
I'll do it 20 minutes.
Ben Ebbage, it's addictive, isn't it? Ben Ebbage, I don't feel like you can comment anymore. Like you can, of course, but I don't feel like you're in a position to laugh at anyone after you just said Luis Diaz was the Colombian Lucas Moura.
And cabbage, more like.
Wow, yeah, what a ridiculous. Freddie SP has said big clubs bring a lot of quality players, and then it's up to the players who want that starting spot. Freddie, yes. Right, I would love to be at a point where you've got, let's just say, Ericsson, Kulusevski, Son, Kane, Maddison, just Perisic, and it's a case of right, which three are starting this week, right? I would love to be at that point where I don't have to think, shit, what if Kane or Son get injured this week? Yeah. I don't want to be at the point next season where we're all like, remember, it was Harry Kane might have food poisoning or he's not feeling well and everyone shits themselves, right? Pardon the pun. Everyone shits themselves because Harry Kane or Son might have had a knock, right? Wouldn't it be lovely? You go, all right, Kane's had a knock. That's all right. Well, this week we're going with Son, Kulusevski and Ericsson or Maddison. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Look what happened when Doherty got injured.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's Doherty he was talking about.
Yeah. Look at this. Luis Diaz, he doesn't score or assist and can't beat a man. No end product. He can't beat a man. Okay. Anyway, let's read no more out of him. People laughing. Pancake, Newcastle potential dark horses for European spots. Talk to me, Thiago. Newcastle. For me, Newcastle are going to be a force. Let me caveat that before anyone takes that as my sentence. I think they're going to need a couple of years. Because again, like us, what they can't suddenly do this window is shift out all the crap that's had them in relegation battles and all of a sudden bring in world-class players. So for you, do you see that this is going to be a slow evolution for them where this year is just going to be players that are a little bit better, then the year after, better, and then bang? Or do you think they're going to be an immediate money-grabbing players from across the world straight in?
Judging by the way they finished the last season, you could see that there's potential there to, maybe fight for something higher up the table. But I just think that, as people like to say, their pool is still not going to be enough this season. It's the beginning of the project, and it started well. But at the same time, has it really shown anything? Like, for example, they are saying they want to bring a huge star to the club, and apparently Neymar is for sale. Would Neymar join Newcastle? He wouldn't. I think they're going to have to they can do a little bit better. I think they're showing that they're going in a good way. They got a good manager. They're playing good football, getting results, but they're not going to be, at least in my opinion, they're not going to be European places this next season.
Pete, can you counter that? Do you agree with that? Any chance that Newcastle get top 7, which is Europe now?
Well, maybe they could potentially get 7. I agree with Thiago. It's an evolving process for them. Do you remember when City first got the money? This was when they had the Thailand geezer, the president or whatever he was. And then they didn't go out and buy. I mean, they got Robinho, but then it was like players like Elano and Giovanni and all these players, like sort of just before, and then it took them up a level, and then they evolved again. But he's right. They ain't got Paul. No one's going to want to go to Newcastle. It's not London. If it was London, they might have half a chance. But it's
just
Newcastle.
Quickly, just before we carry on with that, Luis Diaz, 7 goal contributions in 13 games. So if you take away his assists and you take away his goals, Ben Cabbage was indeed correct, and he doesn't score or assist if you take away his goals and assists. So we got to the bottom of that dilemma. I could be a policeman. Pete, yes, you're right. Who's going to want to go to Newcastle? But we already saw in the January window, right? Trippier, right? Solid England international, right? Guimaraes, quality player. I'd love him at Spurs.
That was a good buy.
Matt Targett, solid Premier League player, went in there, did really well. Dan Burn went in there and did well. If they get 3 or 4 more of those, are we now talking about them being up there with Leicester and Arsenal and United? or are we a couple of years away from that?
I think we're still a couple of years. Personally, I think they need a bigger goal threat. Callum Wilson is very injury prone. Without him, they don't really have a decent goal threat. They do need to get some more quality in. They've still got a lot of their older players there, so that's going to take time to churn them out. And they have to spend. They're not going to spend 300 million quid every window because they can't, because they run into the FFP brick wall. So they can only spend, I think I see it, about 60, 70 million this window, and then every other window. Otherwise, they go too big too early, then they'll screw themselves for other windows, like Everton did this season. Just gone, where they couldn't sign anyone. They weren't able to sign anyone for a fee. That's why Townsend was free. Who's the one from Leicester?
Damari Gray.
That's it. And then we had to give him Dele Alli for free with a proviso that they'll pay money if he does this, that, and the other, because they couldn't buy him. It's not that it would cost a lot, but they could not actually buy him.
Yeah.
And now they can this year. So I think they could run into trouble there. They're not careful. But they will eventually, as long as the investment stays, they will eventually work their way up. No, I have no doubt about that.
It seems like a vanity project. Just quickly, if you haven't already, please smash the like button and please subscribe. We are so far 61 likes. If we can get that to 100, that would be great. We've on 727 subscribers. So if we could get that to 750, that would be much appreciated. Thiago, let's move away from Newcastle as a challenger. I'm going to talk about the Arsenal. I always worry as soon as I say that. Do we see, look, Pete made a great point earlier, right? Yes, we finished above Arsenal, but it was 2 points. Our fans are acting like we smashed the daylights out of them and we finished 20 points clear. Now, in theory, we've got the stadium, we've got the manager, we've got Champions League. In theory now, you'd like to see us go, right? Is that going to happen, or are we going to see Arsenal have a good window and catch up or overtake? I know it's difficult to answer that because all the fans will go, oh, Arsenal shit, Arsenal shit, Arsenal shit. But what do you think?
As I said before, we can debate all we want about where Arteta took over and where he's now, that he's fifth, hasn't got Champions League football, but they improved. Until the 2020-2021 season, Arsenal wouldn't be in a top four race to the last game of the season. They would have dropped out before. And this goes not only for Arsenal, but I think for Spurs as well, that United dropped off, West Ham dropped off, Leicester dropped off, and there were three teams that finished above us the previous season. Arsenal, if they get that central midfielder that is reliable physically and that has quality, of course, because Thomas Partey, he gets injured a lot, and if they get that guy to put the ball in the back of the net, then they're going to be even more of a threat, and we'll have to be even more clinical and solid than we were this season. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the problem with Arsenal, and I think we cannot really go for the players' mentalities anymore. A season, they learned it. They now know what they need to do more to get a top four place. Arsenal will improve, in my opinion. It hurts me to say this. I hate to say this, but it's the truth. We cannot just live in a wonderland and think Arsenal will. I mean, we hope, but we cannot just live in a wonderland and think Arsenal will be shit forever. Mm-hmm. We have to play with the possibility that they will improve, and we need to be careful. I think they're gonna stay at least on the same level, improve to get like third, maybe 5 for second. I don't think so. I think they're gonna stay at the same level as us. We have more ground to improve than they do. I think we can improve more than they can improve. But I think Arsenal will be a threat again.
Okay. Pete, let me ask you about Chelsea. Now, again, it was another one of these things, like, you know, what we were saying about fans all of a sudden know something about Liverpool about to implode that we don't know. Everyone was saying, oh, my God, Chelsea, they're going into administration. They're not going to spend any money. It's going to be dreadful. They're losing Rudiger and Azpilicueta and blah, 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 blah. They've got their new owners, Pete. Their new owner has already guaranteed he's going to stick in something like $250 million in transfers this window. Spurs fans I speak to seem dead set that we are finishing above them. Are we getting, I'd say the collective we, are we getting a little bit too cocky and carried away here? And is there a chance that Chelsea just go and blow us out the water in terms of the summer they're about to have?
I think Chelsea can do either or. It's a bit of an unknown quantity at the moment because I don't think all was quite right there with Tuchel. I get the feeling something's not quite right.
Yeah.
They've got the money to spend, don't get me wrong, and they will do it. They can buy really good players. They're a strange one. Because they've done it before where they've just fell to pieces and then end up like in 6th, 7th. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got history for it, even with all their money and top players. So you just don't know. They got the whole Lukaku thing they got to deal with. That's got to be dealt with. He obviously wants out. I couldn't tell you. I mean, as it stands, we're not in a position to get too out of our pram saying we're going to finish above them with the squad we've got, because they've still got a massive squad of players, really top quality players.
Yeah.
There's nowhere we should be. I don't see where we get that confidence from. Just finishing 2 points above Arsenal. What was it, 4 or 5 points behind Chelsea? That all of a sudden we're going to just and let's be honest, they've dicked us 4 times this season.
I think every game they beat.
Yeah,
every game they beat us, I don't remember them having to get out of second gear. I feel they turn up, they put out whatever 11 they want, and we just collapse. But the thing with them, I mean, Thiago, let me ask you about Chelsea. Again, look, it's a lottery at the moment, guessing who's going to spend what, who's going to have what players. So I never predict who's going to finish above who. The only 2 I will predict will be the top 2 will be the top 2 next year in the same order. I personally think City will win the league easier than before. But Chelsea, they can't be written off, can they, Thiago? When you've got that much money and that deep a squad, we can't write them off, surely.
You can. You absolutely can. And I think the off the pitch situations of the club affected the team inside the pitch, because it had so much uncertainty over their club if they were even still exist at some point. But they still finished 3rd. They saw they were not going to go for the league. They saw they were not going to fight City and Liverpool, so they took their foot off the gas. If they kept it, they would have finished way above us. And they still have a good squad. I honestly think it's the situation of what happened off the pitch that kind of annoyed them. And they were like, okay, what's going to happen next? And now that they have new owners, if these new owners put in money, then maybe we're even going to see them finally go against City and Liverpool to see if someone breaks that. But you just cannot write off Chelsea.
Right. So let me ask you, Thiago, while you're still there. Again, this is a good point. Now, look, first of all, let's take it that Arsenal haven't signed any of these players. But if Arsenal were to sign Jesus, Gnabry and Basuma, all of a sudden, doesn't that make them a real threat? Like, you add in goals from Jesus, adding goals from Gnabry, Basuma stiffens up that midfield. All of a sudden, I don't feel like there's that. Sorry, let me go to this comment above first. We'll go to that one. Arsenal need at least 3 years to get back. Now, can I just remind everyone it was 2 points, right? I don't understand where. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. But where is this positivity? Like, where's it coming from?
It's weird. I mean, as I said, Arsenal have improved, and all these 3 players that were listed, they have reasons to go to Arsenal. Again, it's the mentality of this fan base that they think Champions League football is everything. Doesn't matter if you're winning or not. If you have Champions League football, you can get any player you want, and it's not like that. Gabriel Jesus, he wants game time. Arsenal are going to give him game time. Spurs will they give him game time? We have Harry Kane. So Arsenal is not really that terrible option compared to Spurs as people make of. Bissouma, Arsenal is an improvement on Brighton in terms of club size. And Gnabry, maybe he wants to prove a point for Arsenal fans because he left. People were saying he was bad, and now he's turned it around. Maybe he wants to come back and prove, no, I'm actually good. They have
absolutely.
to go to Arsenal, and it's not like they are, as I said, it's not like they are 20 points behind us. They're only 2. A win for them and a defeat for us, they're ahead.
Yeah. Okay,
They
so
sign
guys,
those 3 players, I'd be very fucking worried.
me too. Just quickly, Pete. Just before I come to you on that, guys. All right. Okay. We're gonna go for another 4 minutes and 10 seconds. If you two can stick with me for 4 minutes, and then we're going to end the show. Can I please ask? Please get your likes in. Please, only 65 likes, and at times we've had over 100 people in the show. Get your likes in. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. We are now on 728. Let's at least get to 730. Just before I get to you, Pete, Savva, Mr. Tunnel Vision, I think you left out a comma after Savva. Mr. Tunnel Vision strikes again. We sacked our manager, and they've had the same manager in 3 years. For 3 years. Manager for 3 years. Surpass should be with a capital S. And we surpassed their project in 7 months. When you talk about surpassing their project, for me, we've got Kane and Son. They haven't. I don't feel like we haven't had a project. We've got Kane and Son. They haven't. And we've got a top manager. But again, you're the one that's got awful opinions. So see you later, mate. Pete, as you were saying, Bissouma, Gnabry, and Jesus to Arsenal.
I mean, Jesus we should be going for. Bissouma definitely going for. Gnabry, I don't think there's anything that will attract him to us. He's an Arsenal boy. But if they get those 3 players, that changes everything. Now, they're another club that could go either way because it could all go wrong for Arteta, and then I think the knives will be out for him. They could be gone by Christmas. They're at sort of a real crossroads for them. I hope that's what happens. I hope it stays. And they continue being what they're doing at the moment. Not a lot, but it can all change. They have been starting spending some money. They picked up some good results. Yes, they got tonked the last few weeks of the season, which I think was a case of the pressure of the matches and then being burnt out, not having a deep enough squad that they didn't buy anyone in January, and that's what got them in the end. Because we were 6 points ahead of them, and then we cocked it up, and then they managed to get 4 points ahead of us, and then we took it back.
Yeah,
so we should have been out of sight. So it's in our locker to cock it up as well. But if they get those 3 players, I'm definitely like, oh, hang on a minute, we've got to go better.
Yeah, I mean, look, I only play devil's advocate with this. So everyone going, oh, I'm talking about Chelsea and Arsenal being great. Not at all. I'm not saying these teams are great. What I'm saying is Chelsea have the money to just go and do what they want. Plus, Brozier's coming back with experience. Conor Gallagher's coming back with experience. They're going to keep a lot of their top players as well. You know they're going to buy well. Chelsea just do, right? They just do. Arsenal, here's my question to you guys. We've got 1 minute left. Here's my question. I'll ask you first, Thiago. Give me 30-second answer. If this Arsenal team had Kane and Son, and this Spurs team had Lacazette and Nketiah, who finishes top 4?
Arsenal, easy. I mean,
right.
If you get Kane and Son together, they have 40 goals? Of course, they finish ahead of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Pete, do you agree or?
Yeah, because then own goals would be our top scorer because Lacazette only got about 4 and Nketiah got about 3. So own goals would be the top scorer all day long. That was the difference. And although we have a lot of better players than them, they had more variation in their squad than we currently do. They can play different systems, different formations to suit whatever we can't. And that was their advantage they had.
Yeah. Now this is this was my point of that conversation was I just think people need to remain calm. Yes, we finished above Arsenal, but I think we're forgetting it's on that 2-player swing.
Take the emotion out of it.
Take the emotion out of it. If Arsenal had strikers, I'd be worried. But and just quickly, David, of course. But my point is when we're saying when we're saying
not these days, mate. Not these days.
But my point is, David, is that when we're talking about we're miles better than Arsenal, we're not miles better yet. Let's see what happens at the end of the window. This is another one of my fans that always comes on. Kulusevski is better than Diaz. That's a fact. Well, it's not a fact. They've both come into different teams. Kulusevski's played more because we needed him. Liverpool have had the kind of comfort of being able to ease Diaz in and not have to play him.
I've got to compare them. I don't get why people compare them.
Yeah. Second of all, one plays on the left, one plays on the right. They're very different types of wingers. According to fans like you, we should be winning the league every year because no other player in the league compares to any of our players. But on that note, Thiago, Pete, thank you very much for your time. It is much appreciated. I've enjoyed the chat thoroughly. I hope you guys have as well. I can't do these shows without guests like you. I can't do these shows without people in the comments. Please continue to subscribe. As I said, we will give away 2 tickets to every home game next season. And once we get to 1,000 subscribers, and any money that we generate will be donated. Half the proceeds will be donated to the British Heart Foundation. So I'm sure most of you appreciate that if you've had anybody in your family with those sort of heart issues. But listen, thanks, guys. I will speak to you soon on our WhatsApp group. Much love. And just to let everyone know in the chat, I will be live tomorrow at 4 p.m. with Michael Bridge from Sky Sports. So if anyone wants to check in and see, am I live tomorrow? 4 p.m. tomorrow with Michael Bridge, just to see if, just to get his opinions. And please can ask anyone that comes on, please don't be silly. Respect Michael. He will answer your questions as long as they're not silly. Much love. See you later. Take care.
See you later, lads. Take care. Ciao, mate.
Bye-bye.